Dr. Patric Gwyer. Welcome through the rabbit hole, and welcome to our Warren. Rabbits, I wanted to do this little interview and a formal introduction to Dr. Pat Gwyer, who's going to be jumping on board and getting involved in some through the rabbit hole initiatives and projects. You're a psychologist, clinical psychologist, and you do a lot of stuff around that and outside of that as well. So you have a very, very clinical background, and I think that, yeah, it's going to make our collaboration really interesting. So I think that the aim of my video really to let people know what is about to happen with Through the Rabbit Hole here in WA, and I think the honest answer is we haven't ironed out all of that yet. We do have a loose plan. It's a very, very interesting plan, and there's a lot of micro steps along the way. So I'm going to invite you in a minute just to share your passion in mental health and why you wanted to come and collaborate with Through the Rabbit Hole and what your interests are and what you're excited about. I think in the long term, in the future, we're going to hopefully be doing our workshops that will collaborate over the seas between our establishing businesses, and there'll be workshops on all sorts of things that we're both interested in. So I'm your Australian lived experience lead, and you're my UK clinical lead, and I think it's really exciting that we're going to come in and do some collaborative projects and have a partnership that's going to be done probably a little bit differently. Yeah, so yeah, over to you, Pat. I want you to just introduce yourself to all the rabbits at the Warren here on the Through the Rabbit Hole media pages. I'm trying to get lots of people to the Warren to get in and get excited about what's happening. So tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, thank you, Phoebe. You know, I guess I should just start with how I met you. I met you at an international conference in New York, and you did an absolutely amazing presentation about lived experience in your role, and I think I, along with the rest of the audience, were absolutely blown away. And I had the opportunity to speak with you, and since then we've worked quite closely and shared ideas. I guess what I really like is bringing this voice of people with lived experience, and actually one of the reasons why I think I like the idea that we can come up with is often what you actually have is you have services which is designed by mental health professionals, and then service users or lived experience people are kind of plugged into that to get this 360 approach. What I like about what you're doing is you're doing it the other way around. You are being the lived experience expert. This is your venture, this is your mission, and what you're doing is you're using the experts such as myself to plug the gaps. So I think that's a very bold step. I think it's very initiative, not the right word, innovative, sorry, is the word I was looking for. And I guess one of the just why I believe in what I do is you know, I present at conferences around the world and in the UK, and I pretty much always ask this question: how many of you can remember being at school and wanting to grow up to be a princess? So my daughter, she's 3, she's pretty convinced that she's a princess, and I spent much of this morning also being a princess. And you know, we grow up, we want to be a doctor, we want to be a lawyer, we want to be an astronaut, we want to own a sweet shop, we want to do, and then you say, okay, how many people were at school and said, you know what, I want to grow up with mental health difficulties, I want to grow up with a drug and alcohol problem, I want to grow up with trauma. That's what I want in my life. You know, I don't believe that anyone wants these things, yet it happens to so many of us. And I think it's really easy for people to say, oh, it's their choice. I don't believe people make that choice. I believe people make a choice, if it is a choice, because they have nothing to choose from. It's a Hobson's choice. You can have anything you want as long as it's this one. What I think you're doing, Phoebe, and why I want to be involved and why I want to support and help you, is you are empowering people, and in addition to empowering them, I think you're also emboldening them. So to give the courage to change, the courage to make choices, the courage to make decisions, the courage to use that experience and to use it and to grow from it. And I think that's an incredibly powerful thing. And that's what appeals to me about working with service users. That's what appeals to me about, you know, working and reaching out to people like you saying, hey, how can I help you? So, you know, this is very much me helping you and me supporting you, because you really are the expert in this. And I like that way that you're going to turn this around and say, do you know what? We actually live with this. We actually do this day to day. This isn't somebody who's read lots of books, who's done lots of training and got lots of experience. This is somebody who's actually lived it and is going to bring something from that to help other people. So I guess that's a summary of why I want to be involved and why I believe so much in what you're doing. I can see the benefits of it. And I'm actually really grateful to you to giving me the opportunity.
Oh, thank you so much, Pat. It's just lovely, because I'm so excited about TtRH, the company, the organization, the initiative, and all the things that are going to come with Through the Rabbit Hole. And I just, yeah, it's not very often I stumble on my words, so I guess this is a very impromptu video introduction. Yeah, I would like to thank you for jumping in into this with me, and to let all our Warren rabbits so far on the Facebook pages and people who visit the website, to let them know that, yeah, I think there's going to be some exciting stuff unfolding. And on that final note of what you were saying about what you really appreciate about what I'm trying to do is helping people, self-empower and be involved, is that's one of the TtRH goals, is to also be a very activism-based, I don't even know what the word is yet, company, organization, business. I'm still fleshing that out. But I do want it to be quite activism based, and I do want people to come and jump in and do their own videos and do their own campaigns and come on board and write position statements with us, and come to workshops and make it another part of the movement that's happening all over the world. Anyway, so a lot of the ideas that I have aren't necessarily my own. I mean, I'm inspired by things that people have been talking about and trying to do for a long time, and a lot of this is happening really well in little pockets. So what I want for WA is to do something in that vein. And I guess the secret is I'm going to do some of those things a little bit differently. So I'm being a little bit enigmatic with some of the things so far on the social media platforms, and all will become apparent. And it will become more apparent when the mission and vision statement goes out and has its own promo. So thank you for giving me a little bit of your time just to do a video intro, because I think it's nice to introduce people that I'm going to collaborate with on in social media on these kind of platforms. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, Pat. I think 2020 is going to be great. We're probably going to spend the rest of the year doing promotions and awareness, and a lot of those micro steps in launching. And hopefully next year in 2021 we can get some fantastic workshops between you and I running in a really interesting way. Yeah, so
that'd be really nice. And I just want to say, Phoebe, just listening to you there, and this idea of, life is full of uncertainties. We have the best laid plans, and often they don't just come through just because life kind of gets in the way. And actually, I just liked what you were saying there. You don't actually have a plan. You've got a vague plan. You've got a mission, and it just made me think of that very humanistic approach. And when Carl Rogers, he says, if you provide the right conditions, our human potential and our beauty and our creativity and our self-actualization can just unfurl. And actually, I like that when you're saying that you don't quite know what you're going to do, but you've got an idea, because what I think you're doing is you're going to create a fertile soil, and you don't quite know what all the nutrients in that fertile soil are, but it's going to be the people themselves that then grow and kind of blossom and do that. And that is very organic, very natural, little bit of uncertainty, not too planned. It's what happens to us in life, doesn't it? We just grow and we take each step. And I just think, when you said that, this idea that what you're doing just has a really nice parallel to what it is to be a human being and to grow and to develop.
Yeah, and it's so strange. I think this will be like my final thought is that it's strange because I've always been a massive planner, and I mean every micro step. I micromanage like all my plans, like all spreadsheets for the week, the month, the year. I've got the 5-year plan. I've got the retirement plan. You know, I've always done this. I'm a very compulsive planner. And yet, what happened when the pandemic hit and I was isolated at home. My husband was in a very, very high risk category, and I made the decision to take my son out of daycare, even though they were saying, children can't carry that. We all bunkered down at home. People have been so praised for their frontline work, and I've been doing it for 5 years. And I think at that point it was bizarre, because I actually pulled out at that point because of the stress from my workplace in not supporting me, because I actually wanted to work from home, and there were all these IT and remote access issues. And I thought, you know what, with this couple of weeks that you've been stressing me out with IT issues, that should not be a thing. I should just be able to phone my clients and support them. And I bunkered down with my family, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to launch it now. I've been essentially preparing for this for 2 years in my head. Well, I've been working towards it for 5 years, but I've been kind of loosely planning things and putting things in place for 2 years. And I got to that decision. I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be in certain levels. Lots of people are talking about mental health right now, because the mental health sector has been ignited with everyone's anxiety over isolation and viruses, and so here we are, Pat. And it was funny, because when we spoke on the phone recently, you had a very similar experience at work in a sort of different, in a parallel thing, but you were becoming quite uncomfortable and conflicted with some of your work place stresses and situations. And yeah, to cap that off, there were about 5 signs to me in the same month that I took as signs from the universe that just told me to do this. So yes, while there is a plan, and some of it is quite strategic, like I've got a timeline of some dates when I'm going to promo things, but I'm actually quite proud for once of doing this relatively organically. And I loved what you said there, is I just want to create a really fertile soil, because at the end of the day, the reason why I haven't specifically planned every micro step is because I don't want this just to be mine, because that's not the point. It's not Phoebe Kingston's Through the Rabbit Hole company. And although there will be workshops later where we'll earn money, I mean, I need to have a job and earn money. I actually want it to be activism based, and that means people coming in and getting involved. I've already had some queries about volunteer work, and I actually just want people who come and get involved to feel they've got ownership. So it's not for me. I actually genuinely want to make a difference in the way people feel. So maybe that's a great way to end. Yeah, create a soil where people can grow into what they want and feel involved in an entire forest of different flora and fauna,
Yeah. Do you know what, Phoebe, I'm really excited, and I think we're going to be able to do some really great things, and I really do help a lot of people, but also I think a lot of people are going to be able to help other people. And actually, one of the things I find really humbling in my work is often when I work with clients, I learn so much more about myself and what it means to be a human being, and what my values are and what my beliefs are. And I wouldn't get that if people didn't share their experiences with me. So I really think this is going to be a great opportunity for everyone.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's exactly it.